Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. And of course, good morning to the entire world. Good morning to every nook and cranny where our 100,000 watt transmitter gets its signals, looking through the lurches, lurching through the forest everywhere. Welcome, everyone. Northwest Houston, Northwest Texas, or not Northwest Texas, Northeast Texas, Southeast Texas, Northwest Louisiana, Northeast Louisiana. We're going to have a great show for you today. But before we get busy, let's get to the studio where resides every morning our geniuses. Buenos dias, genios.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Looks like our transmitter goes everywhere, doesn't it? Lurking through the forest.
Yeah. You like that one? You like that one about the forest? All right.
Lurking through the forest. What's behind that tree, Batman?
Lurking behind the tree.
It must be KPFT.
There it is. That's what it is, man.
Doing all right this morning. 10 cans and string are holding together. We're doing very well in our pledge drive. We're darn near to our goal. I mean, it's within sight. So, folks, support us. 713-526-5738 and do it today. And that's all I got for you.
Hey, Egberto.
Brother. Yes, talk to me, Brother Jack. We missed you yesterday.
Yeah.
We were missing your wisdom, man.
Oh, yes, we did.
Yeah. What I was going to do, the guy flaked on me, so I'll have to do it this weekend. Anyway.
Oh.
I voted yesterday, and you know what really bothered me? Amongst all the Republican posters and signs, I did not see one sign for the Democratic Party or any candidate.
Where'd you vote?
And I think
Where'd you vote?
Bad day. I was it was Galveston County in Baycliff. So
Wow. It's because it's not a Democratic area. But I mean, that is, hold on a second, Jack. Neil, you know something? That's what gets me with Democrats. The first part about earning somebody's votes is showing up.
Sure. Yeah.
Showing up. But go ahead, Jack. Finish with your word of wisdom, my brother.
Yeah. That was sad news. Come on, Democrats, make a fight of it. At least show up at the polling places and put up some signs. Don't abandon your Democratic voters. It felt like only one party mattered.
Yeah.
Well, Jack, you make a very important point, and so do you, Egberto. The world is run by the people who show up.
Mm-hmm.
So show up in the world, will you? Because the clowns who are showing up right now are not
Sorry about that,
what we want. It's okay.
Look,
I'm done.
Look, let me tell you something, guys. You have to give people a place to land. If you don't show up, people don't know that they have alternatives. If you don't show up, they don't know where to land. And I'm going to, Jack, was that your entire word of wisdom, or do you have some more to mention, sir?
No, that was it. That was it. I mean, I was just, it just bothers me down, south of Houston. I don't know how it is on the north side, but you see all the signs for the Republican parties, but nothing for the Democrats, so it feels like there's only one party.
Look, you brought on a minor rant here, and here's a minor rant. When our brothers and sisters in the middle of the country, whether they be in Appalachia on the western side, whether they be in certain parts of Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and all of that, when they complain about, the coast and so forth and how they migrate, look, there are two dynamics that's going on. But the first dynamic is that feeling that you had there of aloneness, that feeling of aloneness and abandonment. That is that is how the GOP is able to mislead people. They are there. You go into a Democratic area, they are there. We got to do better than that. We have to get rid of those East Coast elitists who are the ones who run the Democratic Party, who earn all the monies that you give. When you start checking those emails that says, give money, we're losing, whatever. All that money doesn't go into the center of the country where it really should go, to activists on the ground, to all these people. They don't go to KPFT that's supporting everyone. They don't go to places that they need to go. Those elitists on the coast are the ones getting it. So I feel your pain. Sorry for that. That just hit a nerve. Go ahead, Neil, my brother Aquino. Neil Aquino is with us, of course, with the Houston Democracy Project. One activist in Houston that will be anywhere he needs to be. Neil.
Well, good morning. Good morning. The swamps of Louisiana. A second week in a row. I hope I'm going to ask someone from Louisiana to call. One of my goals is a Thursday morning call from across the line. Please give us a call. I'd like to know about what it's like in your situation. And it's showing up as a theme. A couple of things we're going to mention today directly involve the act of leading and showing up. It's super important. Showing up is at least half the battle. That's the cliche. And it's also an intellectual enterprise. Just knowing to show up, committing to showing up, knowing where, sticking with it. There's an awful lot to be said for it. And you can read these things in the Houston Democracy Project blog, HoustonDemocracyProject.com. That is my effort. And I'm appreciative to be here each Thursday to the production team and Egberto.
Look, thank you, brother. Let me tell you, I welcome aboard Jean Daigle. She says that's why Democrats that live in those areas feel are on an island by themselves. There are many more like-minded individuals, but if there's no visibility, we will never break through that mentality. There has to be visibility, or else that causes apathy in the voting process on our side. Jean Daigle, I could not have said that any better. Wow, that was powerful, Jean. We already got a call. Come on in, John. Good morning, sir.
Morning. I'm a first-time caller. I'm a physician and surgeon by background. I talk about universal health care and or single-payer health care, if that's a subject that's of interest to you.
Sir, the subject of interest to this show is whatever is of interest to you. Please proceed.
Okay. Wonderful. Yeah. So I'm in favor of single-payer health care. And I have been for years. It seems like we have a really messed up. I've been doing this for 35, 40 years. We have a messed up way we pay for healthcare in America. Europe does it better than us in many regards. So a two-tier system. But if it were universal healthcare, like Romney Care or Obamacare, and if everyone had, say, Medicare for all, my only paradigm or thought would be why don't we just have a little bit of skin in the game for everyone, so that when they have Medicare for all, everyone pays a certain tiny percentage of the true cost of the care. So if you get a CAT scan for $1,000, say you owe $10, so that you might shop around for a cheaper CAT scan. It's not going to be $1,000 for you. It's going to be $10. Or if you're going to have a surgery for $5,000, it's going to be $50, and so forth and so on. Just want to see your thoughts on that.
Well, first of all, I am a big supporter of Medicare for all. I think we need to change the name, because some people think Medicare for all is the current Medicare that we have, which is a good thing, but has a few flaws, like the 20% flaw and the donut hole flaw, etc. But here's the thing, my brother. You said everybody should have skin in the game, and I am so with you. I don't think the skin in the game. Your option is a valid option. At the point of service, you have to give a few dollars. That's fine. That can have a controlling effect. I think all of us should pay healthcare taxes. All of us. I think every single one, and I think it should be what is it called? It should be proportional to what you make, of course. It should be a tax like we have a progressive tax right now for income. I think we need to have one for healthcare. Right now, all we have is something called a Medicare tax that everybody pays about 3% of their income on. I think we need to go further than that, in my opinion, and that is to if if everybody pays taxes, everybody have skin in the game. And let me tell you what is also taxes, brother. That person that may not have a job right now, but is contributing something to society. You see, I had a caller that talked about money a few times ago. And he said, remember, money is fungible. That stockbroker makes $1 million a year. That teacher makes $50,000 or $60,000 a year. But who has contributed more to society? That person that doesn't have a job but volunteers at the corner every year to help somebody doesn't have a job, but are they contributing? Do they have skin in the game? Yes, they do, in my humble opinion. So I am 100% with you, John. Anything else you want to add before we move on, my brother?
Well, what another topic separate and apart from that, if you have time, is the border and immigration.
Real quick.
So I have the proud, very quickly, I have the proud position of being the son of immigrants and with immigrant sons. My parents were immigrants from Europe, and I'm the first generation born in California. But my younger son, I have 4 sons, 2 born in Boston to my wife and me, and my 2 younger sons are adopted from Guatemala. So I'm a big generation. So,
well, look,
but yes, sir.
John, thank you very much for your call. You sound like what all of us envision an American to be. Thank you so kindly for your call, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You have a wonderful day. All right, folks, we got to do a little bit of pitching here before I bring back Brother Aquino in, because, Sandy's going to get on my case. And he said, you better start making us some money. So I'm going to throw it to Sandy right now so that he can go ahead and try to bring us something here. Sandy, good morning.
Hey, Egberto. Hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, I can hear you clearly, my brother.
Our last day of thumb drive, folks. This is it. No more. This is the final day, the leap day, 29th of February. Comes around every 3 years, and we get overtime in February, such as 2024. We are headed toward a $150,000 goal to fund KPFT currently. We're at $138,113 as provided by 872 distinct donations. I thank each and every one of you. We thank each and every one of you for supplying the funds collected so far. We got a short way to the goal. We have a short time to get there, including this show this morning. This audience has been very generous. As all the other days when we come on and talk about goals for this program, we'd like to collect $400. However, as Susan Darrow is fond of saying, this is Amnesty Day. If you wanted to pledge for something on the weekend and you missed it, we'll do it now. If you wanted to pledge for something on Tuesday and didn't do it now. This is it, the final day. So once again, Egberto, thank you so much for your efforts on this drive and for everything you do each and every morning at 6 a.m. And as you said, whatever the topic is that's on the caller's mind, that's the topic we're talking about. And that's a wonderful thing. People call in from all over the country to this program. And I'd like to see a little bit of support for this activity that occurs here, 6 a.m. each morning, volunteer powered. Come on. You only got one KPFT. That's this one. And it's asking, please, to supply the funds needed to pay all the bills required to keep things rolling. We were joking the other day, Egberto, about just not paying the water bill. I mean, who the heck needs running water for the radio station anyway, right? Those washing your hands, making coffee, it's all overrated. So maybe that's something we can trim out and just over the next 3 months and stay level. It would be nice to have the water, though, running water.
But come on, we need Jack to wash his hands after he uses the bathroom, Sandy.
Jack and Howard, yeah, the whole morning crew, you bet.
Oh, yeah.
No, but for real.
713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org and click donate. And in all seriousness, I think we're looking for our first pledge of the 29th of February. I've been getting up in the morning and turning the machine on, and every morning there's been something there, $50, $100. Somebody that pledged in the middle of the night, or maybe even got going on Arnie Arnson's show. And this morning on the final day of Fund Drive, it's kind of quiet. Maybe people think it's March already. I don't know. It's not. That's tomorrow.
No, it's not March. That's tomorrow.
Well, and tomorrow on the 1st of March, we turn 54 years old. Happy birthday, KPFT. That's right. 54 tomorrow. Acknowledge that with a birthday gift for KPFT and help us crawl just a little bit closer to that overall goal of $150,000. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org and click donate. $120 donation gets you the Caroline coffee combo, a pound of Lola Savannah Colombian Supremo beans, and a Caroline Street coffee mug designed by our own Jill Morgenstern. We have Politics Done Right t-shirts for $100, all kinds of goodies. But of course, the sweetest thing of all, the best gift that anyone can have is KPFT in Houston. So we're just asking you to support what you love. Egberto, back to you. We'll look for that.
Yes, folks. Thank you. Look, we're looking for our first donation. Give us a call at 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Folks, also, there is Coffee with Egberto. Anybody who wants to give $250 and have a coffee, I'll drive any part of the or listening. Well, I can't say that I'm not going to drive to Louisiana, but I'll drive any party of the Houston metropolitan area and sit down and have a great coffee for you. And I tell you what, didn't tell Sandy this, but I'll bring you a little goodie for you. I'll bring my new book for you and say, hey, here you go. I can't do it here, but I can do it in person. 713-526-5738. Hit extension number 1. That's a $250 contribution. But again, $5 a month is a sustainer, and we get an extra $50 if you do that. $10 a month. If you do that, you don't feel it, and we get an extra $50 for doing that. $15 a month, please. Let you be the first donation right now. And I tell you what, the first person who donates right now, give Jack your number, and I'll say I'll have a special thing. I don't have permission to announce it, but I'll have a little something for you. 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Okay, Joe, I'm coming to you, but Neil has been sitting back there, and I know Neil has a few things to say, and then I'll come right to you, Joe. I know you're at the bus stop or something, but I'm coming to you in a minute. Give me a short one here, Neil.
Bus stop.
Take Joe? All right.
Please.
Joe, come on in, my brother.
Hey, good morning, Egberto.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Oh, man, I'm great. I was encouraged by one of your early callers, talking about Medicare for All, because yes. I agree that healthcare is one of the things that we definitely should build some kind of cooperative structure, like to benefit everyone for healthcare. Mm-hmm. My concern is that you later said I want to increase taxes. I want to increase income taxes, and
mm-hmm. and no, I don't mean income, but go ahead. Sorry.
But so let's flip it the other way around, right? Do you agree that saving is generally good? Healthy financial decision. And most people think that I'm going to save a portion of my money for my old age or for emergencies or whatever. And saving is good, but why don't we tax the other way around? Instead of taxing what you earn, tax what is spent. Right. There's this thing it's called a value-added tax, a VAT tax. Yeah. Similar to a tax. But the more you make, the more you spend. Right. The more you spend, the more VAT tax you're going to pay. Right. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of everyone has to spend money, and you don't have to tax essentials like food or medicine. So I think personally, I think a VAT tax is a much better system than the income tax, because with the income tax, people can decide, well, I'm just not going to earn any, legitimate income. and therefore I won't pay any taxes, and I'm good to live on,
Can I interrupt you, Joe? Joe, can I interrupt you? Let me just say this, right? I am agnostic to how it's done as long as it's not regressive. You follow me? I am agnostic to whatever ideas come up. Your idea may be better than my idea. And if that's a better idea, I am for it. But what I want to ensure is that it doesn't penalize, okay? I want to ensure that it doesn't penalize that. Yes, we do have a sales tax in Texas, but I want to make sure, brother, that it does not penalize on a regressive manner. So people who complain about the VAT tax, that is where you tax at the point of spending, talks about, let me give an example. A billionaire, there's a max that a billionaire is going to spend, and he will continue to accumulate wealth. I do believe even if you have a VAT tax, we also need to have a wealth tax. We can go into that a little bit later, but the VAT, I think there's a big merit to what you just said, and that is if you're taxing income, that is fungible. If you do VAT, everybody spends, and you know what is being spent. So that makes a lot of sense. But I also think at that point you also have to look at wealth and also ensure that it's not regressive. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, that's really that another thing that the lens that I'm starting to look at things through is, I mean, it's an old lens, but it's shifting gears a bit. But Plato versus Aristotle, right? Like, just go look it up and read it a little bit. Plato was like an idealist, right? And Aristotle was more of a realist. But Plato,
right?
People like progressives, for example, they have these ideals in their heart, justice, equity, kindness, right? And they place those ideals at the center of all of their thoughts and being. And people who are with more lean more towards Aristotle are observers, reasoners. They observe the world and then they build models of the world, and they're thinkers, right? And so, And so what I've noticed lately is that people with the ideals in their heart, the Plato adherents, or like progressives, they feel like their ideals are so worthy, right? They're so noble in their pursuits that they can overlook a lot of little things that happen, and they just overlook it for greater good. Right. And that's given rise to a lot of the evils that we see in society today. A lot of these so-called conspiracy theories that have, that frankly turned out to be true, are overlooked by well-meaning people. But there's a penalty to being an idealist.
Let me just say one thing. Thank you, Joe. But let me just forewarn you about one thing. I believe in progressiveness, and with what you just spoke about as well, right? And that is realism. But what a lot of folks have done is they've looked at the ideals of the progressive, simply say it's not possible because of the way the world is, as opposed to saying, and then that gives permission for them to accept less. It gives the rest permission to accept evil. Now, when it comes to not seeing conspiracy theories, I think every group every ideology has the ability to be fooled, the ability to be messed with in the minds. And I think I got an idea of where you're heading to, but I don't want to tackle it right now. You're a regular caller that I like listening to. So, well, I like to listen to all my callers, but I want to tackle that when we don't have this fund drive going, Joe. So please remember this topic and call back. I want to discuss it with you in more detail. We have a deal?
You got it, Egberto. We will talk about election fraud some other day.
All right, brother. We will do that. We'll talk about that. You have a good one, brother. Folks, before I go back to Neil, I want to ask you thank you, Joe. I want you to call 713-526-5738, extension number 1. We don't, look, guys, it's 6:24, 6:24 today. We end at 7 and on the dot. Please don't wait till the end. I'm not going over today. Sandy said you getting off this damn program at 7. So I need you to call 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Let's start doing those $10 a month deals. Come on, man. Give me 5 of those $10 a month. I promise you this. You are not going to feel it. Brother Neil Aquino, just out of the blessings heart that he has, he gives to the show by being here with us on Wednesday, and he became a new member of KPFT, contributing to this show. I'm asking you guys as well, 713-526-5738, extension 1. I have a quick announcement before I go to Neil, and it goes like this. Today, at 1 p.m. at AIG, there is going to be members of the communities impacted by insured projects will be delivering a petition with over 340,000 signatures, a copy of the risk exposure, the insurers secretly backing the methane gas boom in the U.S. Gulf South report, and request a meeting with company leadership. Speakers will share stories about their communities and the harm caused by the oil and gas industry. That is going to be today at the Chubb offices, 2 Riverwood Suite 900, Houston, Texas. All right, I'm sorry. AIG offices, 2929 Allen Parkway. It is at 11 o'clock, or I'm sorry, at 1 o'clock, 2929 Allen Parkway. At Riverway, 2 Riverway, it's going to be at 10:30. So they're going from one place to the other, at the Chubb offices and at the AIG offices. These are insurance companies. So we're going to have a lot of people like Becca Hinojosa, Juan Mancias, James Hyatt, Roshetta Ozain, Melanie Oldham, Manon Rollerson, great, good activists that are working on these great issues. Neil, go ahead.
Great. Thank you so much. And just want to encourage everyone to make a LEAP pledge, LEAP Day pledge. And a lot of preparation and care and kindness goes into this show. So please contribute, and I'm happy to be a donor. One of the event that Egberto just mentioned, one of the weekly participants in the John Cornyn Houston office protest spent time organizing that. The Cornyn Houston office protest every Tuesday, 11:30 to 1, 5300 Memorial Drive. We've been out for just over 7 years, so please join us. That name, Manning Rollerson, you mentioned, I've long been a Facebook friend of his, and he's been at it. So these are folks are working hard. So every Thursday we highlight the Houston Democracy Project and local politics. And there's one thing I really wanted to talk about this week. Our Houston City Council has renewed a contract with a company called Data Miner, Dataminer. They're mining your data. And without debate, without questioning, council members approved a $108,000 software contract so that HPD can read your social media. You think in the 1.6 billion we give them that they'd have the 108,000, but they needed an extra 108,000. In cities, this is a story in the Houston Landing. In other cities, Dataminer has drawn scrutiny for monitoring abortion and Black Lives Matters protesters. So I'm against this contract, and the city should have asked questions. We have a majority Democratic council. We have a mayor who made a point of saying he was a Democrat, but you could at least have questions, but no. But I did want to think about what terms that, if we're going to have Dataminer, that could be used. What should Dataminer be looking for? It could look for the term vote for Greg Abbott. Governor Abbott has said that he'd order the shooting of migrants, except he'd be prosecuted by the Biden Justice Department. It can look for people who agree with Mayor Whitmire that DPS troops should be deployed to Houston, our state safety police. The state of DPS officers in Houston would enforce SB 4 and in a second Trump term implement Trump's stated intent to suspend civil liberties and launch mass migrant roundups. Another term I could look for is Houston Police Officers Union. The Police Officers Union backs election deniers and Ken Paxton, if you can believe it. If you can believe it, they still support Ken Paxton. So I want to highlight this because we're 10 months short of living in a Viktor Orban type society. I think I read that Trump is meeting with Viktor Orban actually today or this week. Beyond the fact that we live in Texas, we're paying an extra $108,000 to look at people's social media. And my social media has been looked at. I've organized events that I've just posted on social media, and police were there. They're policing me. And yet the extremism and the radicalism is right in front of us. It's sitting in the legislature, the city council chamber, the police union hall. And for the council to on top of the $1.6 billion police budget, to conjure up another $108,000 to study social media when there's a right-wing white supremacist coup going around us every day in open view, and they sit with those people executing it in the city council chamber and in the legislative chamber. It's just really something. And I would just encourage you to demand that your council do better. No one's going to act in a brave and imaginative way unless we demand that we do so, and just be cognizant as you organize, as you plan, that they are watching.
Look, Neil, I think that's important. If you hadn't brought that out to me in that article I wrote I read at your HoustonDemocracyProject.com, folks, we need to start getting our sources of information from people who really are there giving you not the fudge, but real stuff. So both at politicsandright.com, HoustonDemocracyProject.com, and there are a lot of other websites. What's the website for our brother that follows all the council members? Gosh, I can't remember his name right now. But we need to stop being programmed. We need to start getting info. But anyway, I want to throw this to Sandy because I need to raise you guys to send me some support for the program, which is still at 0. And I want to see if Sandy has some words of wisdom to try to attract some of you to support KPFT. Are you there, Sandy?
I am here, Egberto. Yeah, we are at 0, and a 0 is a 0. Not welcome during Fund Drive, folks. Hey, 713-526-5738. If you haven't made a pledge this entire drive, we started on February 8th. We had sustaining pledges as soon as we started because monthly sustainers, well, every month there's some money trickling in, and that amount is building. And when we get to $26,000 a month coming in by sustaining pledges, that's 50% of our needs. Things will change. Things will change. In other words, we'll have fewer fund drive days, maybe even one less fund drive. Look, we can't tell you call. We can ask you to call, but we can't make you call. It's up to you. Everybody has their own free will in this equation. Everybody does what they want in terms of consuming KPFT. Some of us donate very generously, and I'm going to let Egberto thank our first donor of the morning here in a minute. But before we get to that, everybody listening really should participate in community radio. If everybody that listened gave just even the smallest amount of money, $10, $20, we would make our goals so easily. But the fact of the matter is about 1 in 16 listeners bother to make that pledge. And I give you the evidence of 873 donations on our fund drive, and the total that we have, which has gone up a little bit. And Egberto is going to give you that update. But if you have not given this drive, this is the last day, February 29th. We're all very happy about that. Yesterday, when I was signing off with the crew and going over what we were going to be doing today, our schedule, which includes me getting out of here as quickly as I can. I've got a medical appointment that's going to consume most of my morning. And, while I'm at that appointment, I'm hoping that you will come through for KPFT. I'll be here for the balance of this show asking, and then Marlo should be along after that. But folks, again, if you have not given, why? If you're using this as a resource, and you can afford to give a few bucks, why? I mean, who are we fooling here? KPFT, like anything else, is always in peril of not being there the next month, the next week, or not having the funds to do it. Always in peril of that. We're moving away from that red line that we face every 3 months with these sustaining pledges. However, we're not there yet, and we're not to our goal yet. We still have another $11,000 plus to accomplish the feat. And I'm confident by the end of today that we will be there, because our listeners, they know. They've been with us for a long time. And if you're new to KPFT, you're just tuning in and wondering, why haven't I heard a commercial? It's because we don't have any. We're supported by listeners. So look, 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org, and get the coffee in the cup, $10 a month. You can do that on a sustaining basis and a $50 bill. Any new sustainer signing up is going to be matched with a $50 bill, and that's just going to increase how much money KPFT has to work with until we come back in May and do it again. And hopefully that drive will be just a tad shorter, a tad easier. And again, all of you that have pledged so far, the 873 distinct pledges here, thank you. Thank you so much from all of us, because it makes things possible. 713-526-5738. Egberto, why don't you thank our first donation of the month?
I want to thank from the depths of my heart, Brother Augustine Gauna. You know, we always call him here Augie. And the reason I must say that is he's helping recover for those days that we didn't make our quota. Brother, you have always stepped up and you put your money where your values are. I got to thank you from the special depths of my heart, sir, for making sure that we here at KPFT can remain and stay solvent with a few more supporters like you. We could get there. I mean, Augie has given to the program already. He has given to other programs. He's a dedicated listener and a dedicated participant in the activities of KPFT. And look, for those who have it, please follow Augie's lead. All of us that do this work, I mean, you're not doing it for the benefits to yourself. You're doing it for the benefit at large. You know, Eric Hayes is in the chat. I'm coming to you in a second, Neil and Harry. Eric Hayes is in the chat.
The greater good.
I'm going to have
the greater good.
Yeah, I'm going to have coffee with Eric Hayes. He came and he bought a have coffee with Egberto. Let me give you a little secret. I know Eric. I didn't have to have a contribution from Eric, that $250 contribution to have coffee with Egberto. He didn't need to do that. I'd have coffee, I'd have coffee with anybody. But it's a token of appreciation. That's what we're talking about here. But this is a guy we disagree 90% of the times. 90% of the times. But there's a respect. Here's what he says, that I am going to hit him hard when we meet. He says progressives are not realistic. He's going to hear a piece of my mind when we sit down and have a cup of coffee in a civil manner, of course. Right, Eric? So why am I bringing that up? I am bringing that up because, folks, that is what we want to generate here. We want to generate the communication. We want to generate the mutual respect. We want to generate that we are all humans and we are not going to let those external forces make us into what our carnality wants us to be. Because deep down inside, we're all animals. But we've societized over time. we have societized. I just created a word, Neil. We have societized. I don't think it's a word, but you know what I mean. Anyway, come on in. Let me shut up and hear from my brother Neil. Come on in, Neil.
So, a couple other things. So please do call and make your LEAP pledge and help it out. A lot of care and preparation goes to this program, and thank you to Augie. There's a very quickly. Let me make 3 announcements very quickly. I don't think it's the blog that Egberto was referencing about. Blog called Emily Takes Notes. If you Google it,
I
Emily
like that too.
Notes,
Yeah,
and she writes up council meetings. Emily Hines is the woman's name. Emily takes notes. Also, there's a candlelight vigil to honor Nex Benedict, the non-binary youth who died in what circumstances they are in a town in Oklahoma. This is going to be Sunday the 3rd, March 3rd at 6:30 at the Rothko Chapel Plaza at 3900 Yupon Street. And remember the life of a non-binary teen who lost their life following the attack. This is being organized by Megan Fairbanks and Ethan Michelle Gons, who are activists. Do the work, and that's a great virtue of this show. We mentioned earlier, Egberto mentioned earlier, some of the folks organizing a protest regarding methane emissions, and this show gives forum and platform to people really who are doing the work. And the other thing I wanted to mention, another example of showing up, every Saturday at noon, there's a man named Stephen Norris. He's a microbiology professor, a semi-retired microbiology professor. And he is, for the last 3 weeks, and I know he's going to stick with it, from noon to 1, gone to Herman Park and stood near the statue of Sam Houston in that roundabout near the Natural History Museum. And he has a sign that says, "Protect democracy, don't vote for Trump." And that stuff makes a big difference. He is setting the physical example of showing up. He and I have talked. I've written about him on the HoustonDemocracyProject.blog. He was referred to me actually by a candidate for office. He lives in Brazoria County. And someone who knew my work referred him to me. That's these networks that we build. KPFT and Politics Done Right helps build those networks. And he said that people don't want to participate with him. Some don't because they're physically afraid. So we need to not be physically afraid. And that gets back to what Egberto said earlier, showing up or the absence of signs for Democrats in Galveston for the voting. We've got to show up every Saturday at noon. Steve has made signs on his own dime. He'll give you one of the signs. He's going to be there every Saturday through Election Day at the roundabout where the statue of Sam Houston is. It is an act of physical courage. There are a lot of aggressive people, but I know from my Cornyn protest and from being out with Steve last week, and I hope to be with him again next week, that the great majority of reactions are positive. So go to the vigil on the 3rd for Nex Benedict at the Rothko Chapel Plaza at 6:30 and join Steve at noon out in Herman Park near the Sam Houston statue.
It's great to hear that, back. Yes. And by the way, most people, I always talk about most people are good people. During the Occupy movement, we created here in Kingwood, Occupy Kingwood. We did it for 52 consecutive Saturdays in right at Town Center. This was organized by a particular professor. I'm not going to call his name, myself and a couple of students. And we stood out there, rain or shine, cold or heat, for 52 years. I have a mission for you if you would take it, my brother. I just thought about it. The name of your blog is where it should be. HoustonDemocracyProject.com. If we need to get, where we have all these things arranged, all these different activities that's happening in Houston, we need a page on your site that lists them all of the times, and all the other sites are going to point back to that, starting from egbertowillies.com and politicsandright.com, point back there as a central location. We got to talk about that offline because you just announced a whole lot of things, and I'm like, shoot, I'm going to forget about that. I want to be able to tell folks, go to Houston Democracy Project, and it'll has the list of these activist things that we want to do. So let's talk about that offline.
Okay, very good. Very good.
All right. Let me thank Hermina. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you so kindly. You're bringing us to our goal, closer to our goal from Baytown, Texas. Thank you,
great.
Hermina. really appreciate your contribution. Please, folks, follow Ermina and Augustine, 713-526-5738. This is our last day, and I've only got 13 more minutes. If you would call now, 713-526-5738, hit extension number 1 and donate. And to talk, of course, is extension 2. I want to bring Harry in, who's been waiting for a while. Harry is one of our daily caller. Love my brother. How you doing, brother Harry? As soon as he gets it, there you go. Harry, how you doing, brother?
Well, I love you too, Brother Roberto. I love the teaching that you give us, and I love our panel, Neil Aquino, and I love Howard, and I love Jack Van Der. It's good to have him back in the saddle with Howard, the two geniuses there running help bringing this show. But anyway, what I was going to say is moderate Republicans, moderate Democrats believe in compromise. To compromise with progressives so we can move the country forward. The extremists, the far right people don't. They want everything their own way. And that's why you have to have truth tellers like Augie, like the mayor of Politics Done Right, like Donald, some of you callers, very informative callers, and myself. That tried to tell the truth so we can have a diversified equity and inclusion society. That's what we need. And when you have guests like Neil Aquino who tell the truth, and Democrats have to do a better job of getting their message out there. You know, Jack was right. You don't see those signs out there. If you don't get out there and tell the truth and get your message out, how are people going to know? They'll get snowed by these far extremists like a Donald Trump type thinking or Victor Orban type thinking. You have to be able to expose those people. That was, I have these discussions with my brother Alan, and we talked about Jimmy Carter in the past. And I think some of the reason why he didn't get a second term is I do remember Jimmy Carter saying back then that Americans will see through Ronald Reagan's nonsense and his neoliberalism. Well, you have to teach and you have to explain that. And as Arnie Arnson always talks about on your show, Republicans are good at getting that stuff out there. And you mentioned that earlier on the show, Roberto. They get their message out, even though a lot of it's lies. And Democrats have to be able to expose those lies, and that's going to hurt most of people who do need things to make the country better, and they need government to be their friend with programs to help most Americans who do need things or that can't pay for everything out of pocket. I wanted to mention one other thing. What was that song, Howard, that you played right before Roberto's show came on? Because I do remember hearing that when I used to live in the Bay Area on KKSF. Can you tell me what the name of that song was?
I can't. It is Bermuda Nights from Gerald Albright.
Oh, yeah, I love that song. And I'm going to call you later on this morning when we talked yesterday to request some more songs. Yeah, I love Gerald Albright. Great
I can
artist.
hardly wait.
Yeah, Hi, Harry, we got to go to Brian. I got to pick up Brian. Thank you, my brother, Harry. You have a good rest of your day.
Democrats get the...
All right, brother. Peace. Let's go to Brian, my brother, Brian. How are you doing, my brother?
Fine. How are you?
I'm fine. Talk to me, sir.
I don't want to thank both of the volunteers for doing the work that they do. It's not paid for, but satisfaction is guaranteed. Here's something that you don't hear and won't hear. Lena Hidalgo was kicked off the Houston-Galveston Area Council. And the reason why, she missed 52 consecutive meetings. And she was voted out. And during the vote, it found out that she was on vacation on a vote to kick her out. Now, why isn't this being told more often, more frequently? If a Republican had missed 10 consecutive meetings, they would have voted her out.
Actually, they do vote. They do. A lot of people do meet. When I read the article about this meeting, right? This is an organization where Houston is a very small percentage of it, even though we are the largest population of it. It's the group that controls our mobility around the country. Okay, it's a story that isn't really a story, Brian, but I don't want to spend too much time on this right now. We can do this when we don't have fund drive, and I can go. I'm not defending not going to a meeting or whatever. I think she should have removed herself a long time ago. She made herself be removed. It's not like, oh, they voted her off. No, she said, I don't want to do this. And because it's for Houston right now, I mean, Neil worked on this project, actually. I don't know if you realize that, Neil, but you were pushing that thing about making sure to vote that new amendment so that we can occupy a bigger role there, because our role is very small there. Even though it's very small, we have a largest percentage of the population. Go ahead, Brian.
Our role in this is 107 cities, so it's not a small amount. We have 2 representatives.
No.
One of them was Lena Hidalgo. No, we have 107 cities represented for flood control, the Port Authority. All of these things are involved, and she chose not to go to any of the meetings.
All right, Brian, I tell you.
Meetings.
Brian, I tell you what, I'm not showing you off. But Sandy got to leave, so I want him to say a short word if he's still there, and then I'll come back to me tomorrow, and tomorrow is in Fund Drive, and we'll talk about it. Okay? Thank you, Brian.
All right,
we talk. Peace. All right, Sandy.
Hey, Egberto, I need to be missing a few more meetings. I'm going to have to call up and find out what the secret to that is. Hey, folks, this is it. The last day of Fund Drive. Yay. Okay. Those words just rolled off my tongue. The last day of Fund Drive. Currently, we are standing just a tick under 139,000. Our overall goal is 150. We may see a couple of more dollars dribble in as this drive concludes, from other sources, but most of it comes from your calls this morning, today, for the balance of the day. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org and click donate. Egberto, you got a couple of more thank yous. You want to get to those right now?
Yes, I want to thank big time Edmina. First of all, thank you for that kind contribution. I think that one is a split between us and you talk. And also, I want to thank Stephen. And I hope that is a Stephen online right now. Stephen, thank you so kindly for becoming a sustainer. Love you, brother. So, Sandy, you have a good one at I don't know if that's how you say it, but have a good one at your meeting, okay?
Yeah, my meeting. Hey, folks, look, Stephen became a sustainer, and his name will go in the hat. We are holding a concert at Anderson Fair, which sold out in a matter of 90 minutes. And that's going to be Jesse Dayton and Lyle Lovett at that intimate listening room in Houston. And one pair of tickets is still floating around the universe. And we're going to pull a name out of everybody signing up as sustainers this drive. And that name is going to get to go to that show, or at least receive a pair of tickets. And hopefully they will honor that by going to the show. So take a chance. Maybe you'll get a super show, and you'll be supporting KPFT in a incredibly meaningful way. Sustaining memberships, come on. It costs us $52,000 a month to run the station. If we say have 5,200 people online right now or listening over their devices, radios, etc., $10 each a month, and we're there. That's that Caroline coffee combo. All of you doing what Stephen just did, man, that would be it. It would be done forever. I mean, 52,000 a month coming in. 52,000 is our needs. That leaves what left over in Fund Drive, Egberto?
Yeah.
52,000 minus 52,000 is zero. That's right. Fund Drive start to disappear. So come on, it's just common sense. The logic is inescapable. It's mathematical. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. Stephen, Hermina, Augie, hey, thank you for getting us started today. But there's so much more room for you, and of course, you. 713-526-5738. Egberto, I really appreciate your commitment to this fund drive, to this station, to this network. Egberto's on the national board, and that's no small demand on time. So thank you for everything that you do, Egberto.
Thank you, my man. Thank you for bringing this stuff back. Anyway, let's go to Stephen. Come on in, Stephen. How are you doing this morning, sir?
All right, I'm Grand Alberto and Egberto, and I just want to say thank you for bringing me back into the fold with your programming and such, especially particularly your coverage with our brother Dr. Obadiah Kamal, the true information activist.
Okay, well, Obedike was a mentor of mine as well. Obedike was the first person who reviewed my book here in Houston on air. I love that guy. Continue, my friend, Stephen.
Yes, and it's because of that kind of love and commitment, actually, Egberto, that has brought me back into the fold of not only being a listener, but a contributor as well. And I want to get out the way of anybody else. And thank you so much for being who you are.
I appreciate you, brother. I really, really appreciate you, folks. Have a wonderful day, Stephen. And by the way, Obedike's memorial was this Saturday. It was beautiful, and we had a lot of representation from KPFT to send Obedike into the ether. We love the brother. All right, Johnny, could you be quick for me this time because I have one last pitch. Come on in, my brother. And Bruce says that he contributed, but he didn't say. But it didn't ask for who. So Bruce Pollard contribution is mine. All right. Anyway, come on in, Johnny. Johnny, you're on. Where's Johnny?
Well, here's Johnny.
Sometimes he's playing with his phone and he can't get it working. Well, while we wait for Johnny, since we're near the end, I'm going to ask Neil Aquino to give a closer, and then we'll pick up Johnny. Come on in, Neil. Give me a closer.
Great. HoustonDemocracyProject.com. Thanks for having me on. Early voting ends 2 days left of that, and election day, primary day is the 5th, and please contribute to Politics Done Right.
Thank you so kindly. Let me throw it to the studio.
Okay, well, we don't know where the mayor of politics went, but he went into the ether, I suppose. Nothing from me. Great show. Be sure to contribute to Politics Done Right and KPFT.
Jack, we want you, Jack.
Okay, here we go.
Just donate. Get us over the top, please.
All right, folks. Look, folks, this is the last you're hearing from Politics Done Right during this drive. I ask you can still get your donation in 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Please remember to tell them it's for Politics Done Right. 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Tell them it's for Politics Done Right. Additionally, you can go to kpft.org at any time, select Politics Done Right, and give your contribution. We need to get as much as we can right now. Thank you, Harry. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Howard. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Neil Aquino. Thank you, audience. Thank you, listeners. Love you all. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I get out of here. What? Out. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.